This movie explains the AutoPlan module, available in Metrix 2010 and onwards. Note that this movie is not all-inclusive. The scope here is to quickly and simply explain the how and the why of the module, to explain what it is, not all the options for using it. Further details can be found in the Metrix user guide. If all you do is plan work where you've got a single product that needs to be produced on a sheet of some size and press and particular working style, you probably don't need AutoPlan. The built-in auto production and auto layout mechanisms of Metrix Base are probably going to suit you quite fine. The moment we go beyond one product, where we have multiple products on a sheet, and the moment we move into bound work where I've got multiple components of a project, AutoPlan starts to become much more valuable. I'm going to make a new project to explain it from a different angle. I'm going to go ahead and import now a spreadsheet of items from Excel. This could be coming from a JDF file. We could be making this ourselves in Metrix. That's not relevant to the feature. But here I've got a number of different products to produce. They're all the same size, 8.5 by 11. But look at the quantities: 26,000, 350, 4,200. This is an economic challenge, not a geometrical challenge. I know how to put 8 of these on a sheet. That's pretty easy. In fact, Metrix probably has a standard layout to match it already. The question is, how many press sheets should I make, and which items go on which press sheets, and how many times up? So it's an economic challenge. Auto layout and auto production could help us with this, but we would have to try all the various options, and there could be dozens or potentially hundreds of options, and I could literally sit here for an hour or more. I'm going to ask AutoPlan to think it through for me. It's going to try to make a number of different press sheets and then find the best, most economic solution to the challenge that I've posed it. It thinks it through and it comes back with results and says, we thought this through. Starting at $9,800, we found better and better options, and that is the very best way we can run this. And it's across 2 layouts. It creates the first layout, found a standard layout in the database to match, and a second layout. I could change the quantities, even if they changed right down to the very last minute, run them back through AutoPlan, and I'd have brand new results coming back. This is not at all uncommon work. People do this all the time, spend a great deal of time working this through manually, and come up with solutions never really knowing if they might have found a better way to do it. AutoPlan's going to help you get there, and get there very quickly. I'm going to quickly do a new project that's very similar but much more complex in scope. This one I'm going to also import a list. This will be 36 different items, different sizes. So this is all over the map. Trying to figure this out without Metrix would really be an enormous challenge. I simply throw this into AutoPlan and ask Metrix to think about it. What Metrix is looking for is a solution based on cost. And you'll see that listed here. It hasn't found anything yet. It's probably checked hundreds, maybe thousands of options already. It hasn't found anything it deems reasonable yet, but as soon as it does, it's going to report that to us. And then it's simply going to try to beat it. So $31,000, that was essentially its starting point. If I cut it off now and stop it, I'll get a result back, but probably letting it run a little longer is going to make some sense. $22,000, we can see it dropped quite a bit already. So the initial algorithms, and there's a number of different ones at play here, the initial ones are quite aggressive and generally get to a almost best case scenario quite quickly. I could let it run for longer, and in fact in true production, not in a demonstration, I would probably let this run for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll cut it off. Mathematically there's potentially millions of options, so I could let this run for an awful long time, but 5-10 minutes generally seems to be quite suitable. So I'm going to pause this movie and come back in a few minutes, and we'll look at the results. Alright, I've let it run for a little while now. Let's go ahead and stop it. Metrix will come back and show us the results. So it started at $31,000, got better and better and better, and we're clipping it off at $17,500. Now you'll notice that it could actually fit everything on 2 layouts. So it's not just a case of what can I fit, it's what should I do. So $31,000, we actually saved a tremendous amount of money by going to more layouts, even though that means more plates, more make ready, more press time, or potentially more press time. This is obviously saving us a lot of stock that was being wasted here. And it just simply then tried to refine it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results. And you can see that Metrix just simply creates the layouts. It's trying to combine items where it can of common sizes, so we have simpler cutting than otherwise. But bottom line, it's just trying to save us overall money. So this kind of work with multiple sizes and quantities, it's definitely going to be complicated cutting jobs, but if this is the kind of work you do, that's just the kind of world you live in, is complicated cutting. And Metrix is the one that's going to figure out these great layouts very, very quickly. There's one last very different perspective I'm going to show you on this. Let's close this project. I'm going to open up some books here. Now in this example I've got a book to produce. Let's open this up a bit here. It's a perfect bound book, a number of 16s with an 8 and a cover. We need 2,500 of these. And as this was about to go to production, the production manager said, is there any other bookwork on the same stock that perhaps we could get some advantages by doing some combining? Well, we've got this other book. It's similar in structure. It's got an 8-pager and a cover in there as well, but we need 8,000 of those. And the question is not can I put the two 8-pagers together, or can I put the covers together? I think I could. The question is, should I? Because I'll be throwing away more than I actually keep. So what should I do question. We go to auto plan. You see there's no layouts in the project even. We're going to let Metrix think this through from the beginning. Auto plan, let's do the covers first. We have 2 cover components. This kind of work goes through Metrix very quickly. Metrix virtually instantly comes back and says we should do this on one layout. And not only did it say we should do it, it also found a standard layout in the database. This layout is completely finished, ready to go into production. Let's go ahead and look at the text now. We've got 12 text components. Metrix comes back right away and says we should do that on 11 press sheets. So it obviously does want to combine the 8-pagers. Let's scroll down and take a look at them. And there it is on layout 7. It's combined the 8-pager from one book and the 8-pager from another. Even though I'm going to throw away thousands more than I need, it makes sense to do that. The plate cost, make-ready costs, stock costs, all of that's being factored. So whether we're doing flat work, whether we're doing bound work, AutoPlan is quite useful, extremely useful in fact, when we're doing more than one thing at a time, which is for a lot of people most of the time. One last thing before I leave you with this, just to show you a quick peek in the database, the guts of this if you will. In the presses, when you first set up a press, you tell Metrix the costing or the economic perspective on that press. Its hourly rate, its running speed, make-ready hours per color, the cost for the plates, and then there's a factor for some drying time for turned and tumbled work. The cost perspective here on the press, in conjunction with the stock costs, your common stocks with their sizes and costs attached to them here, all of that's being factored in when these decisions are being made. So it's not just simply assumptions about your project or some proprietary algorithm or something like that. We're looking at your equipment, its costs, evaluating it, and coming back to you with best case scenarios. So it's a very valuable feature. As I mentioned before, unless you're doing pretty simple work, we find that most people need this module and find great value in it.